Good afternoon, everybody. Today I am going to be making Maw Maws Peanut Butter cookies. It's Teacher Appreciation Week, and we're going to be making cookies for my grandson's teacher. So you're going to need 2 cups of all-purpose flour. You're going to put in about a half a teaspoon of salt and a half a teaspoon of baking soda in with your flour. And then we are going to cream together. We're going to cream together our butter with our sugars. Then we're going to add in our eggs one at a time. We're going to mix in our peanut butter, and then we're going to mix in our flour. So let me get this started, and this needs to be at room temperature. You're going to need a stick of, it says calls for unsalted. I never buy unsalted butter, to be honest with you. I just think if I use unsalted, it doesn't, I don't know, it never tastes right. So I always just use salted. But if you do want to use unsalted, then make sure you use your half a teaspoon of salt. So let me get this cream together, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm going to be creaming my stick of butter, my 3/4 cup of sugar, and my half a cup of packed brown sugar. So make sure when you do the brown sugar in your cup, you make sure you pack it so you have, you have all the brown sugar that you need. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that this is creamed together, and you want it to be really creamy. So this is going to take me just a minute, and I will come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, once you've got that nice and creamed together, and you can see that's creamed together, we're going to start adding our eggs, and we're going to do these eggs one at a time, and you're going to make sure they're mixed thoroughly before you add in your next one. And this will make it nice and creamy before you add in your flour or your peanut butter. So I'm going to get this mixed in. You're going to do this in about a medium, and we're going to make sure this is nice and blended really well before we go on and add the next egg in. All right, I'm going to get the eggs added in, and then we will go to the next step. All right, this is nice and creamy now. I did forget to say add a teaspoon of vanilla extract, so I'm going to go ahead and add that. And I'm going to get this just stirred in right before I put my peanut butter in. So let me get this kind of mixed up real good, and I will start adding the peanut butter. Okay, so now we're just going to add in our peanut butter, and this is 1 cup. I use the creamy peanut butter, but of course you can use the crunchy, you can use the peanuts one. At this point, you can add other nuts, you can add chocolate chips, you can add anything into it like that. I just like the old-fashioned way of doing it, just the plain with the creamy peanut butter. We're going to get this nice and mixed together. Make sure you get this good and stirred, and then we will start adding in our flour. Now the flour you're going to add in, the flour already has, I put my salt and my soda in there, so I'm going to add it in a little bit at a time. Just give me a minute to get this nice and mixed up. Okay, now that that's all mixed in and incorporated, we're going to start adding in our flour. And again, I already added my my salt and my baking soda in here. So we're just going to kind of add some. And then this, you're not going to use a mixer. You are going to just hand stir this, because what you're going to want to do is you're going to be making a soft dough. So once your dough is at the right consistency, then we're going to get it rolled out. And we're going to get it on the cookie sheets. Now, you should have your oven preheating. It should be up to 350. And once we get this done, it's going to go into the oven for 10 to 12 minutes. Oh, I didn't forget to mention, when you're doing the peanut butter, make sure you do get the whole peanut butter or whatever. Don't get the all-natural kind, because that tends to be really oily. And that can change the consistency and not get your cookies to turn out the way that you expect them to, because it's got more oil in it than you do with your like Jiffy or Skippy or whichever one you use. Okay, so this is about, I'm gonna mix this up just another minute, and I'm gonna get my baking sheets out, and we'll go from there. Okay, so your dough is gonna be kind of sticky, so I would flour your hands just a little bit. I mean, you don't want your hands overly floured, but roll it into a ball, or use a ice cream scoop, and then you're going to put it on there. So I usually would try to use an ice cream scoop, because that way you kind of get the same size each time. But again, it's going to be kind of a sticky dough, because you do have peanut butter and butter. So I'm going to get some of these rolled out. Okay, get some of these rolled out, and I will show you before I get them put into the oven. Okay, so I can get these kind of in the oven. Once you get them and get them into a ball, to keep your fork from sticking, you could put it in sugar, and then you're going to need to press down. Now you do this because that helps the cookie cook evenly, but also, I guess I'm a glutton for punishment, but I like the extra sugar on the top. In fact, I'll probably go back before I put them in the oven and add a little bit of sugar. Now what you can also do, if you like that sweet and salty flavor, you can take some of the coarse sea salt and sprinkle a little bit over some of the cookies, and then you get that sweet kind of salty flavor. So let me get these finished up, and I'm gonna get them in the oven 350 for 10 to 12 minutes. Don't cook them too long. It's just going to be brown around the edges. It's still going to be kind of soft in the middle, and you're going to want to do that because they continue to harden, and if you cook them too long, then they will get very, very crispy. I mean, they will be like too crispy. So I'm going to get these finished up, and I'm going to get them in the oven. So I got these out of the oven. They went in first, and as you can see, they're brown around the edges, and they're going to be cooked around the edges, but they're still going to be soft. So don't think, oh, they're still mushy. They're going to cool. You're going to cool them for about 10 minutes, and then they'll be a nice, soft, chewy cookie versus crunchy. If you leave it in the oven past 12 minutes, they'll get real hard, and they'll just be real crumbly. Now, some people like crunchy. So if you like crunchy, leave them in the whole 12 minutes. These have been in 10 minutes, and I put the other ones in a few minutes later. So this recipe, probably if you did the smaller cookies, you would get a couple of dozen. I made a little bit bigger. So if y'all have any questions, let me know. If not,